Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, Asteroid Fight Club. Thank you to George. Thank you to Joel. Thank you to Robert. Thank you to Rix. Thank you to Greg. Thank you to Shay. Thank you to Darlene. Thank you to Megan. Thank you to Michelle. Thank you to Shams. Thank you to Wizard of Oz. Thank you to the Texas Angel. Thank you to Alexis. Thank you to Dan. Thank you to Ann. Thank you to Bruce. Thank you to Patricia. Thank you to Max. Thank you to KJ. Thank you to Brian. Thank you to Marlita. Thank you to Light Soul. Thank you to Glenda. Thank you to Barbara. Thank you to Richard. Thank you to Lauren. And thank you to everyone in Asteroid Fight Club. You guys are amazing. I have hit my fundraiser goal for March. And so usually when that happens, I come on and have a beer and we talk about it and everything that is going on in the world. And so I'm blown away at how awesome y'all are. Thank you so much. And man, are these not the craziest days you and I have ever known? Cheers, y'all. To, to world peace and good times again on planet Earth. There are now 5 days left. Oh, cheers. There are now 5 days left in 2021 astrologically. What's up, Space River? And so I definitely expect leading up to March equinox to be crazy. And it is crazy. And there are so many things to talk about right now. But smoke 'em if you got them. Pretty please. And there's rain outside right now. I went out walking in the rain. But yeah, dude, the run from 2019 until now has been like full tilt all the time. And that the entire situation happening with all the things is about as wild as it gets. It's like wild, wild west here in 2022. And everybody's got their opinion on what's going to happen next. And at this point, I don't know what's going to happen next. And that is exciting. Although it is freaking crazy. And so, one thing I would like to discuss tonight that I have found quite fascinating is that Jupiter and Saturn entered Aquarius at the same time at the end of 2020. And then Jupiter went through and is now in Pisces with Neptune and technically Mercury. But that Saturn has been alone in Aquarius for a few months now. And that, so not only did you have Saturn alone in Aquarius, but now you had Mars and Venus entering Aquarius pretty much at the same time, almost on top of each other. But Venus is out in front because Venus is an inner planet. So Venus orbits is smaller, so it has a shorter year or shorter orbit. And Mars, which is outside of Earth, has a larger orbit than Earth or Venus. Anyway, so Venus is now in Aquarius, is stuck between Mars and Saturn. So they call it a besiegement, where like Venus is being besieged. And while the besiegement shit seems fucking real, because, like, if you want to use a metaphor, that, like, let's say Russia's Mars and the rest of the world is Saturn, and Venus is Ukraine. And that seems like Venus is under pressure, under attack, and besieged. But one major mistake, and it's like World War III could break out at any time. And that is very crazy to me. And for 9 years, I've been here going, hey, y'all, I got an idea. Let's avoid World War III. And technically, we're still in winter for, what, 5 days? So it's the last 5 days of Dark Winter 2022. And I am here with you. And I am super duper grateful. And I got to spend 10 or 11 days with my mom and my family in DFW. I am super grateful for that. After being locked down in this foxhole for 2 straight months. Okay, so yeah, so in one lane, at least for the United States and Western people, you've got Venus besieged by Mars and Saturn and Aquarius. You've got Pluto like at the last flipping degree of Capricorn, and that shit won't end until the end of 2024. You have the 1 year American Pluto return to where we had like a Pluto orbit around as America. That shit kicked off on 2/22/2022. And technically, it's going to last all year and for probably the next 100 years, 248 years. And then you have Mercury, Jupiter, and Neptune in Pisces. So you got 3 planets in Pisces, and 3 planets in Aquarius. And they're like 8 or 9 planets, depending on how you count them. So to have that many of the planets themselves, and it's created quite an imbalance. And the craziest shit is that, like in Eastern astrology, Hindu, Vedic, sidereal, whatever, that like Eris is crossing over from Pisces into Aries, and we're at the very last, or the East, like Russia and Europe are in the very last degree of Pisces in Eris, and Eris is the goddess of war and discord. Once I saw that, this whole situation made way more sense. Please remember, civilization has been around for a long time. One of the big game changers was electricity, which came about 220 years ago. 140? That really changed everything. Then we had the industrial age. And then we had the credit age, which is like the 80s, where they gave you home loans and car loans and credit cards. It was like the 80s through 2000. And then 2000 was like, although the 1945 was the atomic age. That changed everything. And then we hit the digital age. And now like 2022 is like everything combined. And it seems like we have an overabundance of everything, whether it be money, oil. We have an overabundance of ways to produce food and grow food and feed people. And so what is being fought over now is who controls the overabundance. At least that's what it feels like to me. You can have your own opinion, your own thoughts. That's absolutely cool. Welcome it 1000%. And I would like to say thank you, Asteroid Fight Club, for being awesome. And happy 4th of July. Oh yeah, so like no matter what, you, your friends, and your family, you should be planning to try and have an excellent spring and an excellent summer, because we, you know, they're locking down China, they're locking down Hong Kong. And the fact that, like, just what, 2, 3 days ago, China's like, oh, we gotta lock everything down, or not everything, but just play whack-a-mole with the thing. You know, it hasn't totally gone away or gotten super weak. It still has the potential to kill thousands of people, hundreds of thousands. Hopefully, it will lose that ability sometime during the spring, but that may be optimistic. So I'm just saying that politics can wait. There ain't even an election until November. Now, I would recommend putting aside all your bullshit, and we all have bullshit, and trying to stay away from drama and stay away from causing drama, and do your best to enjoy your friends, your family, your life, your hobbies in the spring and the summer. That's if we make it. I think we will. There's so many things to talk about. But I need to tread carefully. I mean, the year started out with YouTube suspending me for a week. And then, like a week ago, Putin was like, we will arrest and possibly torture anyone putting out misinformation. And I was like, oh, well, these days information seems relative to everyone's fucking perspective. It's like some people walk outside the house and they see the sky is red. Some people walk outside the house, they see the sky is blue. Some people walk outside the house, they see the sky is pink. Some people walk outside the house, see the sky is green. And so it seems like a lot of people are arguing over what color the sky is. And then there's the real shit that a lot of people have died in the last 2 years. That seems undeniable. Although there's still people who said, like I said, people in their world, just the normal amount of people died as usual. I don't make any sense. Because, like a lot of people have theories that, like, the grand puppet masters write the script and it can never be altered and they know every detail, and so all of our actions, thoughts, and words are meaningless almost. And well, it definitely seemed like when we had the 2020 election, a lot of people got caught flat-footed. When the virus broke out, a lot of people got caught flat-footed. Like 99.9% of people seem to get caught flat-footed by the virus, yo. Where not many people were expecting something like that coming around the corner. And I did my best to prepare us for a situation like that. And I wouldn't say I wasn't surprised. Technically, I think I spent the year leading up to it getting ready, warning. All right. And so the virus caught a lot of people flat-footed. The election caught a lot of people flat-footed. And so it seems like a lot of different groups have been in plan B. So it seems, just from my watching everything, it doesn't seem like a total absolute. Everything is scripted all the time. And I think it goes back to what people have said, including like Richard Hoagland, where no matter what group it is the lie can be different at every level, and a lot of the information gets extremely compartmentalized. And in the 50s, Russia joined like all the countries in the League of Nations, and they worked to support indivisible peace. Let me say that again. In the 50s, Russia and all the nations joined up for the League of Nations, did what they could to support indivisible peace. And I'm thinking, well, sounds like we need a new League of Nations because I'm an old man now. And so I want to spend my last 10, 20, whatever years, 30, having fun and good times as much as possible. And I think after the last few years, almost everyone is ready for that. Oh, so you know how if I grab my Nostradamus book, I would like to say, as someone pointed out that, I forget who the astrologer was, that Nostradamus said in the seventh month of 1999, terror would come from the sky and Mars would rule happily. And someone noted that that's when Putin came to power. In like the seventh month of 1999. I know, and Elon Musk said the other day, like, there are reasons why, like, having a united Earth, there are reasons why having a united Earth would be bad. I was like, what are they? Although he did not list those fucking reasons. And I think that is one of the things that I talk about. Where like with war, it's like, what are they fighting for? Like, why? Why are you having the wars you have in the Middle East? Why do you, like? I was looking back at this exact. You go back like 500. What was it 558 years? The orbit of Eris. So I went back 558 years to see what shit was happening then when Eris was at this exact same point, and right around then, Scotland and Ireland had a 15-year truce. They signed a 15-year truce where, like, whatever war was happening between Scotland and Ireland at this around, within a 6 month span from now and the Eris point, Ireland and Scotland were like, yeah, dude, let's stop fighting and let's just drink. Let's have a peace treaty. And if you look during that time period, there were a lot of places around the earth that had peace treaties. And so if you look at, like, whether it be India and Pakistan or China and like, just everybody that, like, the countries that are fighting, what I'm trying to say is that, like, if you look at the Russia Ukraine situation, like, why are they fighting? Anyway, it seems the war system is totally outdated. But, obviously there are strong forces that want to keep the war system in place. And a woman I love and respect said to me the other day, there will always be war. And I thought, well, all the more reason to play good defense. I don't 100% believe that because, like, in Rome, there was a 200-year period where in the East, all those nations and countries had a peace treaty for 200 years where Rome had 5 different emperors that maintained peace amongst all the people. So it's already been done, and they did it for 200 years. And so if they've done it before us, it can be done again. And technically, that has been part of the goal for, since I've been doing Thor News and definitely Asteroid Fight Club or your Planetary Defense Commander. All right. And so thank you to Asteroid Fight Club. Y'all have been amazing. And welcome to the Ides of March, March 15th. And so I definitely am going to try to stay wildly optimistic, but as realistic as possible through the month. A, and there's always like a good morning Vietnam aspect to it, or we don't know which of the information is. No matter what, it seems like there are always going to be propagandic elements associated with every nation. But for the 20 days now, day 20, all the destruction that I've seen happening in Ukraine, it definitely looks like they've launched like 1,000 missiles. And there's definitely a lot of destruction, a lot of things that have been destroyed. And like, I want to talk to y'all and give you all my own thoughts and opinions from what I've seen and all the shit I've read. But like, I never know who's gonna be listening. I never know what's gonna get me in trouble. But if the reports are true, I don't know. It doesn't seem like the invasion has gone that well. Like, it doesn't seem like it was planned with super precision. And I don't know. It feels like there's been a trend for like 2 years of a lot of people saying that our military is too woke, and dude, our military's our soldiers are super badass and awesome. And people have been pointing out the Stalin connections. And one of the things that Stalin did was during that time they took out all the real intellectuals. They tried to take out the real intellectuals, and they tried to take out the real creatives. And that, as I've said the whole time, as your planetary defense commander, that I fully believe that any consenting adults who want to fall in love or date have every fucking American right to do so. And so, like, but that warts and all that right now, America's definitely one of the most free places in the world. don't know if you guys saw the video of the woman who held up a blank sign and then got arrested in Russia. That like some of the nations don't really allow any dissension whatsoever. And America was almost built on having different opinions, public dissension, and that America is a giant melting pot. And that I take great, like the city I live in, one of the largest cities in the world, Houston, Texas, is absolutely without a doubt one of the most diverse cities in the world, whether it be racial makeup or religious makeup. That it is a super America Texas system based upon freedom. And that is special to me. I am very grateful that I was born and have grown up in America. And I know there was like when we started to allow women soldiers in the USA and the Army, even over the last few years, there's been an uptick with people talking about that makes our military soft. Well, if you've been following in Ukraine, the situation, you will see that definitely I think you get points for defending, and that women can be as ferocious of combatants as men. Like the mama bear. Like who's I still believe in the American dream. Cheers. Sidebar. So there was a cool thing today because at Asteroid Fight Club, I've been talking about how hard it is to be a bard. Whatever period of time throughout the years, if you became a bard class singer, storyteller, artist, got really good at it, that it's always been really dangerous to if you to get really good at it, and that whether it would be Jim Morrison, Jimi Hendrix, Janis Joplin, and then John Lennon, and then Kurt Cobain, and then Tupac, like whatever they do to continue to tamp down the free American music, rock and roll spirit that has been going on since the 70s. I mentioned before that like I feel like on the crossing over station right before I was born, that was right when Jimmy and Janice died, and so like we were with the way station. I was like, hey, but then like there's like a weird war on rock and roll and a thing to control music. Let's call it the Spotify effect. And so I would like to see rock and roll return. And I think it is one of the key components of how badass is the next decade going to be. Like, what was it? The Doomsday Clock, which was invented in like 1955 or something. Like the largest the doomsday clock has ever been at was like 16 minutes. We're like 100 seconds now. In 1990, the doomsday clock was out at 16 minutes. We're like, hey, fuck yeah, dude, doom is so far away. And rock and roll and all music was doing really well around then. Anyhow, the whole point is that like Dolly Parton came out yesterday, and withdrew her name from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame votes, and said, I, like I'm not rock and roll. I don't feel worthy, but it's my plan now to put out a rock and roll album. And somehow, to me, that was like the coolest fucking shit ever. I've always loved Dolly Parton. And B, she was one of the first crushes I've ever had, and technically, I have had a crush on Dolly Parton, like since I first saw her and heard her. And she's married, and I highly respect marriage. But I'm just saying, hypothetically, if at some point she was like, "I want to make out with you," I don't care what age Dolly Parton was, I would say, "I want to make out with you too, Dolly Parton." Anyway, that was like felt like a big Ace River, Asteroid Fight Club, Satori. I don't know, that there was just that seemed like a cool sign. Though sometimes I get optimistic, and with Jupiter and Neptune in Pisces, And so I had guessed that, February 2020 through winter 2022 was going to be super crazy, and it was going to feel like the world, capitalism, communism, and socialism were falling apart. And well, the dark winter of 2022 technically ends in 5 days. So cheers for surviving. And say a prayer for all that we've lost and have gone over before us, and that we will probably see again in heaven or wherever. And it seems like that since the 2000 election between Gore and Bush to now, that like in ways that didn't happen from 1980 to 2000, that like so much energy and focus is put on politics. And that it would be nice to see for the next 20 years the focus return to the focus being on the people doing amazing things. And it's like if we want to be a base civilization 1A, or just take the first fucking step. Like I always think of the grandmother, the grandfather. Because if you know grandparents, there's nothing grandparents love more than their grandchildren. That like it's the grandmother thing that like no matter who it is, where they are, they get food every day. Whether it's a peanut butter and jelly sandwich for breakfast and soup for lunch. That like it, yes, I do believe we are our brother's keeper, and that planet Earth to take the very first step into anything resembling a sane system, that we figure out a way every day to make sure that everybody's fed. and gets clean water, good water. But we're not at that point yet. And with the lockdown, like as planetary defense commander, man, the fact that the data I was looking for was that hopefully somewhere in the spring, the giant surges or the lockdowns stop. And so having China now just for 3 4 days going into the rolling lockdown process as bad news. So you got China locking down, Taiwan or Hong Kong locking down. South Korea is also having lock problems. Remember, it's been like fucking whack-a-mole. It's like a giant, it's like a monster, dude. It's like we were in a fucking Invisible Monster movie. Where at some point the blob, the monster blob, where it started in China, and then it bounced over to like Italy, and then it came to America, and went to like India, and then it came back to America. Like, so the monster just like every few months picks a new location to just terrorize. And even over the last few months, month or two, I've heard so many cases of like they had an this was like 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago. They had an Ethereum conference in Denver, and they were like, "Oh, let's all get together, talk about Ethereum in January. Talk about how great Ethereum is and how great Ethereum is going to change the world." But like supposedly everybody that went to the conference then was like, "Oh, we all got it. We all got sick." And I don't want to be sick, no matter what it is, with the flu or whatever. I just don't like being sick. So I try to avoid being sick wherever. Because another thing, dude, I haven't been to the doctor in forever. I don't have health insurance. Um, I just don't like going to the doctor. I don't know if it's the Viking in me, the man in me, what it is. Last time I went to a doctor, yeah, pretty sure a long time ago, I had a girlfriend. She was like, "You need to go to the doctor." And I was like, "Just a checkup." And I was like, "All right, I'll go to checkup." So I paid $75, and the doctor's like, "You need to quit smoking." I was like, "Great, I paid $75 for you to tell me to quit smoking." Anywho, yeah, dude, healthcare is just healthcare is our healthcare system doesn't seem very Christian. Our healthcare system is fucked. The whole thing about insulin, where like they charge people $1,500, but it costs them like $12 to make. Anyway, these are crazy days, and I appreciate you. Hey, did you know gas has dropped like 30 bucks? It's now under $100 a barrel again. And we talk about like, groups that are there or have been there, or secret societies, or and that how do I put this respectfully? That like it definitely seems like one of the most powerful groups out there is the oil guys. Like nobody really tells the oil guys what to do. Yeah, a lot of times the oil guys call their own shots. And so to be in 2022 and have oil get to like 100 a barrel with all our technology, all our research, like remember, I've been around for a bunch of decades, and so in the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, they're like, we're going to be on solar power by the year 2000. And then we hit the year 2000, and they were like, fuck solar power. Fuck that shit. That's for hippies and go. What is this? Get woke, go broke. That was the whole. People were like, yeah, what about solar? They were like, fuck you, hippie. Go woke, go broke. Fuck your solar power. So that's what like happened in the year 1999 in the seventh month. It was like Mars, and I guess Mars really likes oil. Mars is like, nope, oil is shit. And it seems to me you got to work really hard with all the capacity that they have in West Texas, all the capacity they have in all over the earth with all the oil they got to somehow keep oil at $100 a barrel. It takes a lot of work and a lot of things got to come together, and that's the crazy period that the basic average Russian citizen didn't have shit to do with this. The basic average Ukrainian citizen didn't have shit to do with this. The basic average Earth citizen isn't calling major shots. And so where to have a thing where Russia invades the Ukraine and then like 97% of the nations then start to or 80 85 whatever you want to call it start to sanction and absolutely do their best to shut down the Russian economy and then have this weird tit for tat between like Russia, Saudi Arabia, China, and then between like Europe, the USA, other countries, and India's like, hey, if we had to pick a team, we're with China and Russia. Seems like, remember, take everything I say with a grain of salt, because just giving you my own one man perspective. Like we are, like right now in it, it feels like a full tilt hot economic war where like they're actively trying to shut down the Russian economy. It's really bad for the people, and that with everything that's happening, that like there will be I think there will be for sure financial economic blowback. That like for all the things that are happening now, all the sanctions, all the shutdowns, all you're talking the bonds, loans that like it took Lehman Brothers a couple months to really for shit to hit the fan, and I think there will be some type of a shit hitting the fan economic point. Between now and March 2023. It was like when I said that when Saturn was going to be left alone in Aquarius, like I'm not sure I would stay. Crypto's probably going to go down, and it probably won't go back up major until spring of 2023, and that like the entire economic system, there's going to be a lot of change and a lot that will transpire between now and then. And that most of the socialism, communism, capitalism things that are happening, they all have flaws, and we're watching that shit break down in front of us. And so will kind of be the theme between now and up through like the start of until the start of 2024. But like, what type of a future do we want to have? And I'm definitely tired of war. And it is weird to me that, like, like in 2003, 2004, when the USA invaded Iraq, I was like, what the fuck are you doing? This is so stupid. This is horrible. And then now it's like kind of 20 years later, it's like a different circus, different people. I'm like, what the fuck are y'all doing? This is really bad. And well, I guess stay tuned. We'll all find out what happens next. I looked at Cheers, Asteroid Fight Club for sure. Crying Hippie, I would probably be beheaded for Jesus Christ. Man, I don't think that's gonna be your fate. But you have to remember, I am a optimistic Christian. That I feel like I draw a lot of my power and optimism from Jesus Christ and God and the Holy Spirit. And I feel like I've had one of the luckiest lives on the planet. And that I feel God is good. And that even, Russia, one of the superpowers, they're Orthodox, or Putin's Orthodox Christian. Uh, and America is, you live in America, so who will be beheading you? People from the Middle East? People from China? Are you worried that, like, Nancy Pelosi has some type of, like, atheist death squad that's coming to your house? Take your guns? I don't know. Like, who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe, Putin has been in power for 20 years plus. He's had a lot of time to put together tons of master plans. Maybe over the next month we'll see him fucking run the table like a red wedding, and that, like, fast forward a month from now, it's like Russia and China, like, America, and totally gets overthrown by Russia. You know, maybe that's like, that's what's so crazy to me is, like, watching everything that's, it's hard for me to figure out what the fuck they're doing. Um, but it's all, it's also the flip side of it that, like, look at me. Y'all are, I am working for y'all, and so to keep doing what I'm doing, I think I have to consistently do a great job. if you get into a position of power where you are surrounded by yes men and you tell everybody what to do all the time and no one can ever really contradict you, I think that erodes your judgment ability over time and the choices you make. And so, I don't know, just how we got from 2017 when Putin was handing Trump a soccer ball, and I was like, oh my God, maybe world peace is around the fucking corner. How we got from there to here blows my mind. Like how we like I was so optimistic that I remember that day. I was so optimistic, and then everything, like, and even MBS from Saudi Arabia was talking about building super cities, and it's like at the first half of 2017, it was like, all right, maybe we're gonna turn the corner. Well, we did, and then, but we turned the corner, and everything just got fucking crazier. And now we're here, you and I, together, March 15th, 2022. And I'm a firm believer in self-defense. Like, you have a right to defend yourself. If someone's attacking you, if someone's trying to break into your home or like burn your home down, you have a right to defend your home. 100%. And so when one country is launching hundreds of missiles at another country that didn't really do anything and didn't attack anybody, I was like, dude, stop. No, don't. And so I am grateful. I feel lucky, blessed. But on the other side of that, like, these are the craziest times you and I have ever known. And this is the closest WTF DEF CON we've been at ever. That, like, shit could go sideways real fucking fast. Now, I'm not trying to pick on anybody, and how do I say this? Like, for example, I've been here with you for like 9 years, and you've gotten to watch my ups, my downs, all the shit that I've gone through. I have been in y'all's public eye that time. And the same time, Elon has been in the public eye. And so, and some people have said that they tune into me because they never know what I'm going to say. And, but you kind of have an idea of the theme with me, I guess. And the same thing with Elon or Kanye West. You can have, it's like, which Thor is going to show up today? Which Elon is going to show up today? Which Kanye is going to show up today? And one of the things that I've been kind of grateful that I've been a foxhole and I haven't dated and romantically for like 4 years is that I haven't had to deal with any breakups because I absolutely, without a doubt, I mean, breaking up is one of the worst things uh, that I think you can go through. that if you at some point in time you love someone and you're like, I love you, and then eventually that breaks up, that shit is messy. And depending on how deep the relationship was or how much you love them, it's long lasting after the relationship is over. And then especially, I don't know because I don't have kids, but especially if you have kids, and then with that person you've broken up with, you are still going to be connected, and you're still going to have some type, most of the time, some type of relationship with the parent, the co-parent. And so when I still think Elon broke up with they broke up when she was 6 months pregnant, which I can't even imagine breaking up with if I had gotten a woman pregnant. I can't imagine breaking up with her in 6 months of her pregnancy. That is not something that I think I would like ever fucking do. You know. And then when they broke up, I was like, hey, I wonder, because a lot of times the the woman or the man will then try to make their partner jealous. I guess it's human nature. So I was like, I wonder who Grimes is gonna date to make jealous or get on Elon's nerves. And then we found out like 3 days ago when Grimes started dating Chelsea Manning. I don't know if you know. Chelsea's part of the lot. It feels like Chelsea's part of the what is the name of the other hacker guy that supposedly has been in like New Zealand prison for I forgot his name. Anyway, so that seemed to set Elon off. Kind of like when Pete Davidson started dating Kardashian. That really set Kanye off. And so I'm just grateful I don't have to go through that type of emotional perturbations. Because sure, being in love is great, but breakups are horrible. Oh, and I don't know when Pete Davidson is supposed to be going to space. But look, bro, until like I would not go to space while Russia is still invading Ukraine. If you are listening, Pete, if Russia is invading Ukraine and that type of energy is still around, I would not go to space, man. And another thing that was weird is that like in his video when he plays, I think Chad, he like when he goes to Mars, he like dies, and so I'll be pulling for him. I like Pete. I think Pete's hilarious, but I sure wouldn't be going to space right while a superpower is invading another country. Because it's like, whose side is Elon on? And I think the answer is Elon is on Elon's side. And Elon has been open and honest that he like loves Mars. That like he considers Earth like it seems like he considers Earth a secondary planet to Mars. And so like Mars, and no offense, but I don't trust Mars 100%, dude. I trust Earth. I love Earth and Jupiter and Venus. And I'm not saying I hate Mars, but I'm saying Mars always wants to fight. It seems. Be right back. Oh my God, I'm still out of shape. I don't know if y'all can tell. It's totally true. But yeah, thank you, Asteroid Fight Club. We are celebrating because I hit my Thor News fundraiser goal for March, and it is also smoke 'em if you got 'em attitude because, as you know, I've been concerned with hyperinflation pretty much since I started here, and the the weird economic possibilities over the next 3 months are tremendous. The variables are wow. And I know I'm like the only person that believes this, but I gotta tell you, if you go back to the old school definition of inflation, inflation was any time money, currency was printed or created. That counts as inflation. And well, by creating Bitcoin, stable coins, cryptocurrencies, meme coins, like 10,000 different types, that has created a type of that has added to inflation for sure. And that, one of the two goals of the Federal Reserve has always been to keep inflation around 2%. And so that, like, one of the Federal Reserve's mandates has been like keep inflation at 2%. And that one of the cryptocurrency Bitcoin mandates has been like destroy the dollar. Like, do you get that? That for like 107 or 8 years, the Federal Reserve has like been trying to maintain at least some type of stability. Has it been fair to everyone? Absolutely not. But to have cryptocurrency be like, look, we're just gonna fucking kill. We can't wait to kill the dollar. I'm not saying all crypto people are like that. I'm saying, how, like, destroying the dollar, the global reserve currency, without having something in place to where everyone from age 10 to 99 can go buy a loaf of bread or can pay their electric bill or like if you were gonna switch a reserve currency, it has to be a currency that everyone has. And so we know that there's been like 100 trillion in the Cayman Islands, and it seems like there has been a lot of like move over in the last few years. And so if you're pumping hundreds of trillion new, like, it's like a river that like it has to be controlled and maintained. Or everything breaks and you get hyper fucking inflation. And so, the last few weeks, to see some of the commodities just spiking like crazy, that's some scary shit, man. That's some scary shit. And so it is going to be easy for me over the next few months to like appreciate the fact that I have electricity, appreciate the fact that I have cigarettes, appreciate the fact like you know what that just made me think. I'm going to have to try and look back because remember the 1918 Spanish flu happened after World War One. I can't even imagine launching some type of major military offensive during a pandemic. Because, like, it seems overall planetary morale has been low for the last 2 years. and that we all know that tons of shit is manufactured and produced in China. Since those big credit 80s, 90s, we shipped a lot of jobs in manufacturing overseas. And so, China having rolling lockdowns, especially in one of their biggest manufacturing cities, is a major deal. Sidebar, I definitely don't like bullies. No matter what, I just don't like bullies at all. And it seems like time, God, karma, whatever you want to call it, eventually takes bullies down a peg or two or more. And that the last few years has feels like bullies have been running the show. And that so like now we're at the peak bully point. I mean we have been it's but so yeah, 5 days left in Dark Winter 2022. Or 5 days left in Astrological 2021. I do not know what's going to happen next. I think civilization will survive. I think we'll avoid World War III. But it is still possible. I didn't think Putin would invade because I just thought it was a dumb idea. He invaded, so I could be wrong, but I'm just saying that, like, at some point, Russia and the United States both had about 3,000 nuclear warheads. And so that is enough for everybody to destroy and kill everybody. Um, and so we've been living in a period of mutually assured destruction, avoidance for, I would guess, about 40 years. and that this is the closest the NATO Russia systems have. I mean, this is the most the NATO Russia systems have like come to pushing it to the max. And like how I look at it is, um, I'm hoping, and that I think that like our defense over the last 40 years, we have been doing what we can to stay on the cutting edge and continue to have the greatest military and soldiers out there. Um, I'm a big fan of the F-35. I think it's an amazing machine. And I don't know, this is just my opinion. I could be wrong, and I hope I don't get in trouble eventually for saying this if there's the whole Putin takes over the world. But like watching what Russia has done, it doesn't seem like they pumped a ton of money in R&D and developing their military, and I mean it kind of still seems like the same military of the 80s. And it seems like they were like, well, we got 3,000 nuclear warheads, so we don't really need to develop the military that much. Because we were kind of protected over the giant blanket of avoiding World War III. I mean, and it even goes back to the question of, like, let's say that Russia does take the Ukraine. What next? What's the what's the mission and the goal after that? Is it to reunite all of ancient Mother Russia? I don't know, man. That's why I don't know. I still pray for peace and think that all the nations should join in like a League of Nations and work for indivisible peace, and that we can all enjoy the abundance of all things. But we'll see. All right. So it's no need to send troops anymore. Technology has surpassed that. Okay, but you're talking about just attacking. The thing is, though, after you've attacked, because that's the thing, is that, like, let's say Russia takes over Ukraine. They're like, all right, we've taken Kiev, we've taken their major cities. Russia now controls and can put in their own mayors that the soldiers then have to like keep it Russia controlled. And so technology can't keep quote unquote the people in line. You need soldiers to do that. That may change 20, 50, 100 years from now, but I'm still saying that if there, it was kind of like even in Iraq that even with the whole shock and awe opening, we, they had a military presence there of soldiers trying to keep whatever fucking peace there was, even though there was never really any. And so, yeah, technology you can do most of the fighting with, but it's the occupation part that you pretty much need soldiers, or it's the protection part. And so that's, and remember, like all these missiles, all these tanks, all these soldiers, all these bullets. I saw a report earlier that said one of the problems that Russia had was some of the MREs, which I think means meal ready to eat for the soldiers that they had passed out were from 2015. I can't verify these reports, and so they were pretty much inedible. And that's so. What is the saying? Soldiers don't march well on an empty stomach. And I had seen reports that the virus is still going around. The virus is still uh, that it had been by having your troops all together and like that not having I don't know not having your the very basics, the basic logistics, like making sure that all your troops are fed, making sure that all your troops are healthy, and I'm not talking like war, but like not getting sick. That the whole thing just seems sloppy, for lack of a better term, and that even if they do take Ukraine, that like maintaining Ukraine, especially after all this shit, ain't gonna be easy. And I don't know if the reports are true, but remember, it doesn't seem like the majority of Russians are 100,000% behind it. And Russia may be like the United States, where like 50% of the people are like, hell yeah. That like Ukraine has all Ukraine, that like, they, whatever like, I don't know. I'm just saying that like everybody seems divided. Every nation in some way or another. And so, it seems like a weird fucking time to take your army in to go get Ukraine. Because as I was saying before, like the globe morale is low, and that I have been talking for 2 fucking years about how like, all right, everybody play defense, make good choices, stay cool, keep a sense of humor from February of 2020 to spring until we get to the spring. And so to have this happen during like the last 3 weeks, last month of winter, I mean, you don't have to follow my advice, but I just can't, I don't know, it still blows my mind that I don't know what the fucking end game is. Unless it's just to get oil at $100 a barrel and natural gas up to 450. Other than that, it doesn't seem like any of the main objectives are getting hit really hard. And it does, like I said, it's weird for me being public facing, A, getting like suspended by YouTube earlier in the year, and then B, having Putin come out and be like, hey, if you disagree with what we're saying too hard, we will kill you. That's nuts, bro. Like, everybody calm down. Like, what is the fucking problem with everyone having a good spring, having a good summer, kicking off the roaring 20s? We've all been through hell the last 2 years. It sucked. And that while Omicron was super spiking in January and December, January and February, I like stayed in my fucking apartment. But when I did leave at the beginning of March, it was super duper easy for me to enjoy being around my mom, my friends, my family. Did all the little things that I had not gotten to enjoy were 100 times easier for me to enjoy, and that I enjoyed them more uh, in the simplest of ways. And I think that is how the spring and the summer can be. And so I do not know how the rest of March is going to turn out. And the astrology suggests that shit is going to be until Venus leaves besiegement, which I don't think is till like around the end of the month, like the 30th. And then Jupiter's gone invisible. You can't see Jupiter in the sky no more. And Jupiter won't be visible until like the 6th of April. And so shit is probably going to be super fucking crazy like it is now and continue to escalate in craziness until April. And so that's like 17 days more of like everybody trying to ratchet it up. Or Russia trying to ratchet up, China, USA, like. And so, I don't know, hang tight, stay cool. Hell yeah, blueberries are great. If you can go the speed of light, the craft turns into a beam of light, thus enabling time travel, physical to data. Stay cool, noodles. And that is correct. That is what is so trippy to me, y'all, is that uh, how I ended up being Planetary Defense Commander was when I stumbled on all the John Teeter stuff. And John Teeter was like, I'm from the future. I'm a time traveler. And that Earth and World War III breaks out between Russia and the USA over like Syria or someplace in 2015. And so I'm here to help prevent World War III in 2015. And so that was in 2014. I like picked up the mantle and was like, all right, I'm your Planetary Defense Commander. And one of the main goal here is we're going to avoid World War III in 2015. And we did. You know, Obama was a lame duck from 2014 to 2016, and things got weird and squirrely across the board. That was like, remember when Washington had its power shut off for a while? Uh, but we did it as a group, as a team, as a planet, as Asteroid Fight Club. We avoided World War III in 2015, and then we avoided it in 2016. And then we avoided it in 2017. And then we avoided it in 2018. And then we avoided it in 2019. And then we avoided it in 2020. And then we avoided it in 2021. I think we're going to avoid it in 2022, but you know, this is the closest we've been, for sure. I think in my life, and definitely as Planetary Defense Commander or Asteroid Fight Club. Yeah, I think like I said, that's what the weird juxtaposition has been. That like everything has been going crazy, but that like as you guys know, like when my stepdad died in 2018, I barely made it through that year, and then 2019 I barely made it through 2019. But in December, I had a one of the best months I've had in years, and then so far March for me has been super duper absolutely amazing and incredible. You know, after not getting to spend much time at all with my mom and my family and my friends from 2020 or 2019, 2020, 2021, 20 that to get to spend 10, 11 days with them it was it was super. And so it was like a taste of spring. You know, everything is like inflation's way out of control, and in Houston here, crime is way up, shootings are way up. Like even on the highway, you can tell that people are less patient. Everybody's kind of on their last nerve, but I still maintain faith that we're going to make it through, and that hopefully we will get to better days. And then no matter what, we we have we have the spring and the summer. That like we've got no matter what we've got like a 3 fucking month window. I don't know what the fall is going to bring, or even August, but like, hey man, here's your window. So it's like I've been recommending like play defense now, stay cool now, make good decisions now, and then hopefully in spring and summer we will have that window to just all right now you can have fun, fun, fun till Daddy takes the T-bird away. You know what I'm saying? And people have predicted the end of the world so many times in my life, and we have avoided it every single time. And that like a lot of us have tried to deduce and figure out the Book of Revelation. And I don't know, man. There's not another human being on the planet. I'm like, you know what? That dude is really great. That guy's interpretation of I don't know. Revelation is I trust it, and it seems like people discount all of history that we've gone through. Like they forget everything except for like right now when trying to figure it out. Does that make sense? You are in like a Justice League meeting, and so I'm just asking everybody again. I'm saying thank you very much for being amazing, Asteroid Fight Club. That like y'all have, 2018, 2019 were the toughest years of my life, and you guys supported me through it all. I got COVID in November of like 20 at the end of 2019. You guys supported me through it all. That I am super grateful to y'all. But definitely, I think the next week or two is going to be super fucking crazy. In that, just stay cool. There are good people out there, and we're watching. You know, everything goes in seasons. Everything goes in. That no king rules forever as a living human being on the planet, and that and so if it is your moment in the sun, and then I recommend being good to other people, because you're not always gonna be on top. You're not always gonna be number one. And so like even in America, I think you got the like 10% on the left and the 10% on the right who always just want to fight 100% like the two broken spokes on both wheels. And so like the 80% in the middle who just want to like live their life and enjoy their friends and their family and good times. I think those people's resolve to enjoy life and shrug off the bullshit is probably better than ever. And I don't know, I'm very. I sat, like, this apartment. Okay, let me tell you a story. So, my mom was like, hey, come home on March 1st, do a day or two of manual labor. And I was like, all right, great. And so I left on the 1st and I got back on the 11th because mom and her fiance were like, hey, yeah, no, hang out. You know, everything's great, hang out. And so it was great. And I stayed. And then when I got home, I unfortunately had left a plate of food out. And so when I got home, I turned the light on in the kitchen. There were like 30 roaches on this one plate. And so, like, I went home a couple days, and it's like a roach fest in my apartment. So much so, A, you may have seen one or two on the walls while I've been talking to you, and B, it feels like Ender's Game. And C, I've been like, hey, I'm trying to hurt no one in thoughts or actions, and so I've been not trying to kill any bugs or kill anything. And so I'm just saying, holy shit, dude! I've been in this tiny ass foxhole for 2.22 years and 2 months longer, and that, like, I have made gained a bunch of weight and made like 2,000 videos in the last 2 years. And so I have done my time. I've done the best job I could do possible. And I knew it was going to be difficult. But that I said, hey guys, when spring rolls around, I'm going to be ready to party. And that definitely during the July, we have the 4th of July, on the 4th of July. And then we have Thor Love and Thunder on the 8th. If they don't, they had to do reshoots, which is never a good sign. But they meant postponing it. I'm just saying that, like, for 2 years during all this shit, I've been like, yo, guys, the mission, definitely in the summer, is just like, let's all just have fun. And so I've gotten a taste of that in December and then now, like, in March. And so I'm ready for good times to return to Earth. And there's a Sun Tzu saying of, like, don't interrupt your enemy when he's making a mistake. And that everyone has handled the last 2 years in their own way, and it is all like, God has been testing us, the universe has been testing us, everything's been testing us. And that, I think the next 3 weeks will be crazy, and then, but that is like, and hopefully we will start to, things will calm down and cool down. Although, yeah, there are definitely groups, entities with technologies out there who, A, get their fucking rocks off on watching everybody fight, B, enjoy schadenfreude of, like, enjoying seeing people in pain, and then they want us all to fight over everything all the time. And so that, that'll still be around, that'll still be here with us all throughout 2022, probably 2023, maybe 2024. Some astrologers that I respect have said that America will continue to fight with itself for like 10 more fucking years. And so that, like, I am mentally trying to have to readjust to a strategy of, like, all right, if America's just going to fight with itself over dumbass shit for 10 years, how do I handle it? Because, like, let me say this. that like I've said before, every adult has the right to consensually fool around with, fall in love with whoever they want, and everybody kind of has the right to see themselves however they want to. So it doesn't matter if you're gay, transgender, straight. That like nobody should be picked on, nobody should be bullied, whether it be adult or children. That nobody should be raped, nobody should be beaten, nobody should be molested. That like you should have a common layer of decency through all things. Now on the transgender stuff, which is a giant argument that's been going on for like 2 years, that's been like at the top of the front line, no matter what the news is, that is always there. And so what I'm trying to say is that like I think overall it's best to give everyone their basic human rights, not be a dick, not be freaked out if people are different and not messing with you or anyone else in any way. But that it's like this, that look, I call myself your planetary defense commander, Star Lord, New Thor, 7, the T. Now, I don't expect everybody on the fucking planet to call me Planetary Defense Commander, Star Lord, New Thor, 7, the T. I don't expect everybody to know that. You know what I'm saying? That like when I go home, like 50% of the people still like to call me by my middle name. And so, and so that I believe all human beings deserve their basic rights and deserve to be treated well or not to be bullied, not to be picked on, not to be fucked with, not to be hurt, not to be harmed. But it seems like a lot of the public debate crosses the line sometimes into how other people see you. And you'll never be able to control how everyone will see you, ever. Because I don't know, someone said to me the other day that like we all think you're a fucking joke and we all like to fucking laugh at you. And I said, that is great! Because I don't care if you're laughing at me or with me. If I'm making you laugh, I'm kicking ass, buddy. That's, I'm doing my job. And so it seems like a lot of that is about, getting the people to fight over a very nuanced subject and issue where at the end of the day, look, everybody's allowed to have their own opinion. Everybody's allowed, like, am I making any sense? And on that note, man, to me, there's almost nothing scarier than 2022. Dating. Sorry, that's what I meant to say. Like dating. Now that, if I'm correct, and we are through the craziest shit, and it may be safe to venture out into the world and enjoy life where people are going to be having good times. I don't know, man. Dating scares the shit out of me. And I'm single, I have any kids. And so it's definitely something I plan to do. I plan to kiss and cuddle again. But the whole, especially the whole dating courtship shit is in the weirdest zone it's ever been in our entire life. What? Yes, I'm in the South. I'm in Houston, Texas. Although one of my relatives just moved to Atlanta with his fiance, my cousin. And so I'm like, oh man. And he helps build buildings. We're a very big company. Uh, and so I would like to take a trip to Atlanta. I've never been there. I heard it's great. And Georgia women, Southern Belles. And I love the South, though the resurgence of the like white power shit is dumb, dude. I don't know. That's the dumbest shit to me. As a Texan, it's something, it's around everywhere, but in the South, there sometimes some people take pride in their idiocy. And like I said, that the last year or two in Texas has been weird. Like Matthew McConaughey's not running, and so Abbott's 99% going to be our governor, and that a lot of people are like, you gotta keep Texas red. And I'm like, well, up until like 2017, Texas was purple, you know, and we didn't really put our balls in fucking national politics a lot because Texas was above any singular politician. That we weren't really worshiping presidents. It was not our thing. That I have a saying that you will always find like 100 Texans cooler than whoever's fucking president. And that there has been, since some part like 2019, like there's this giant push to make Texas Mars red. Where that like Elon and Joe Rogan are the kings of Texas now. Somehow they moved in a year ago and they've been elected like the kings. And Texas is a friendship state. And I don't want to get into all I've said all this before, but it's like the whole abortion thing where you got people on the left who are like super pro-abortion, and you got people on the right who are like super anti-abortion. But neither side is working on how to educate and teach people to not have fucking unwanted pregnancies. That you know that neither side is trying to establish some type of honorable courtship romantic system. And so I don't know. Like I've said before, that I do believe a big push over the next few months will be on the whole like making abortion illegal. And it seems like the majority of people, definitely from like the age of 18 to like 30, that most people are gonna have sex whenever they can with someone they find that is like attractive or that like turns them on. It is like a weird rite of passage where like you go through puberty and then you enjoy fooling around with people you are attracted to. And so everybody goes, most people, unless they get married, like they go through like a wild phase. And then when you added social networking to it all, to where like anybody can connect anywhere, where like you could pull up an app and it'll show you like 1,000 horny people around you within like a 3 mile radius. I don't know, and the divorce rates is like 65. For like everything about our seems kind of off kilter, and so to go like now, it's just that's just crazy to me, man. I think there's to me personally that it's the reason I haven't married and don't have kids yet is because it's what I've been planning on, and so I have a super high standard to who I would like to get pregnant and married to, and that I would rather not have kids or not get married as opposed to just. And so I take who I have sex with or who I date. I'm very picky, and I take that super fucking serious. It's like one of the most calculated things in my own personal world. It's hard for me to relate to people like if I would not want to have the chance of a woman being the mother of my baby child, then I wouldn't put my penis in her vagina. And I've been like that my whole life. That like I've only had sex with my girlfriends. And I was kind of new that like if we did it and she ended up pregnant, that like all right, she at least has all the tools to be the mother of the child that I want. I don't know, but not everybody thinks that way. Am I drunk? Am I saying dumb shit? Pissing people off? I'm sorry. I would just like Texas to be less political and more having fun and treating everyone cool. That like left brain, right brain. There's still going to be some people who are more liberal, some people who are more conservative. And that we all have to figure out how to get along. I don't know, but like I said, I'm mentally, I guess, prepared for the next few years to be like an obstacle course to where they're going to do everything they can to prevent us from uniting as a country, as a state, as a team, as a planet. That the whole divide and conquer, which we've witnessed, I mean, it's still going to be there, it's still going to be around. But miracles are totally, absolutely fucking possible. I still believe world peace is possible during my lifetime. And I still think it would be so great. And if we did it, we'd all do it together. Does anyone have any questions? Please let me say thank you again. You guys have been utterly amazing. And you've stuck with me through thick and thin. Sickness and health. Yeah. They don't have a cigarette. Talking about emojis. They don't have a cigarette emoji, which is weird. Thank you, CH, and everybody. Thank you all. And, I look back and I still think that, because remember when that asteroid exploded over Russia, I was working pretty much full time for lawyers as a trial technician, audiovisual guy, making, to me, it was like $25,000, $30,000 a year, which to me was good money. Um, and then when that meteor exploded, I started Asteroid Fight Club, and then with all the teeter stuff, I then was like became Planetary Defense Commander. And so the idea that like I've spent 9 years showing up every week, being like, "Hey y'all, let's stay cool and avoid World War III." I don't regret that decision in any way, shape, or form possible. I think I've had a lot of fun, and I feel like I've had some type of an influence for sure. Some people are like, none of us really ever make a difference. And I believe we make differences, man. With every person you meet, you never know how you're going to change or inspire or, I don't know. I'm not a nihilist. I think, I don't know, actions and grace. Works and grace, buddy. As a raised Lutheran, I'm into works and grace, man. And I know that, fuck, for 2 years, it was like I had to think about death every single day. And then I would have, like, every day I would be like, oh, I could die today. And so, A, it probably aged me a bit. And B, I just got, it's nice to take a break from that zone, whether it be for a day or two or a week. And I didn't want to lose anyone else that I love. As your planetary defense commander, I don't lose anybody. But hey, we did it, man. I mean, think, like, if I would have started the Asteroid Fight Club and then been like, hey, I'm planetary defense commander, and then the world would have just kind of kept along at a decent, normal pace, and things didn't get super crazy, then maybe I would have felt dumb, you know? But no, I felt like I answered my calling and I did my best. I definitely wasn't perfect. But it's been an honor and a privilege to be here for y'all doing this. And I feel like I've learned so much. And I think that the things we can do, if we can get over the hump, are just incredible. I mean, we're stuck in the fucking 80s. So many impediments to progress. We're watching a lot of the old schools crumble before our eyes. And that anyone's fortune can turn on a dime. You can be like super duper successful and then lose it all. Or, there's a chance, that like you can come into great fortune or come into the future you'd always dreamed of after working your ass off to the bone. For me, one of those things is I sure would like at least one more great romance before I go. And so if that does happen, I know that I'll be like, there'll be parts there where like, wow, I'm the luckiest man on the planet. I'm the richest man on the planet. So I know I would stay cool and hang in there. And that my December, and then so far in March, it seems like good signs that we will get to better places and better things. And there are some people who don't handle change very well, that do not adapt very well. I know that I've been talking about like a fixed sign crisis for like astrology, where like the Taurus, the Leo, I forget the other two, but they are fixed. So it takes a whole lot for some people to ever change their opinion or adapt to the situation. And so it definitely seems like the last few years, the universe is forcing us all to change and adapt. That some people just aren't going to do it. They're going to fight to stay the same, no matter how much everything starts to change around them. That's what I'm saying. I just don't try not to make fun of, but that watching the invasion, that it doesn't seem like they've really made any improvements since the '80s in their military, in their tanks, in their weapons, and their jets, their MiGs. If this were a video game, three F-35s and two Warthogs could probably take out like, oh my god, dude. Like there were reports in the like Vietnam War, if I understand correctly, like the Air Force had a like 99% pilot survival rate. Like the chance of an American pilot getting shot down in Vietnam were like none, because just our jets were so superior to whatever they were throwing at us. And we all know that like I'm a Lockheed Martin homer, but it's kind of the same shit that like our our jets are pretty badass, and whether it be the new F-15EX or the F-35, like those things are fucking amazing. I don't know what I'm saying. It seems like Putin made a mistake, and then, but what he does now, or he made a miscalculation. Like I said, I could be wrong. Maybe he's a super master genius, and that he has some super plans that we don't know about that will unfold in the next month or two. But if you look at his behavior, that all reports and all instances show that like he is super paranoid about catching the virus. And so I know that like I've gotten a cabin fever bunker mentality here. And so if he has a version of the same shit, just doesn't seem like a great place to be making really solid decisions. I don't know. I hope they don't send assassins after me. feel pretty safe. Yeah, that would what I would wish for. That what's going on in China, that Putin would call off the invasion, and that they would form like a new League of Nations, and that everybody would work at indivisible peace and making sure the supply chains were solid as fuck, and that we figured out how to feed everybody on the planet, and that the nation signed some type of a fucking peace treaty for 100 years. They're like, no nation shall war against another nation. Like that is the dream. That is what I want. Thor, what was the horse video taken years ago? That was at the ranch uh, in Fort Worth. And you know, someday I hope that I'll be in a position to where I can have horses again. I mean, in this fucking foxhole, I didn't feel good to have a kitten because I chain smoke and hey, if I can't afford health insurance for myself, in the past I've had a girlfriend that I lived with and we had a dog, and I would guess the monthly bill on the dog's health care was like $350 a month. And so if I've been barely making it every single month, that means I can't really afford to have a cat because I would hate for the cat to get sick or there would be something that I can't afford. Anyway, so whether it be a cat or a dog or horses, at some point in time, I would like to have animals again. And that definitely me and horses get along fantastically. And so I would like to have horses again someday. And I think horses are the original aliens. And I think horses smell good. And one thing that my mom did say to me was like, she was like, you need a rich girlfriend. I was like, well, I guess if I had a rich girlfriend, then at some point I'd be like, hey, baby, we should get some horses. Be like, yeah, we should get some fancy cheeses. Oh, so here's another thing. So I've been in this foxhole for fucking ever, and I've been sleeping on a broken couch forever. So I spent 11 days in Fort Worth sleeping in a bed. Oh my god, that was awesome and amazing and spectacular. Like, have you all ever slept in a bed before? Wow. Humanity, remember when we invented beds? I still think box springs are like a probably a racket. Anywho, so it's the little things. So that was kind of the plan. They're like, yeah, I'll sleep on this broken couch for a long time, but I know that when I get to sleep in a bed in the future, this is going to make me appreciate sleeping in a bed a million times more. And that fact holds true. I'm very grateful for y'all. Thank y'all so much. But let me go back to like, so like you have Jupiter, Neptune, and Mercury in Pisces right now. And I'm a Sagittarius, so for me, like during that time, I've said I will probably be doing better. It'll be way more enjoyable for me than when Jupiter was in Aquarius or Capricorn. And but then you've got the like Saturn, Mars, Venus in Aquarius, and that is creating all the other tension that we are seeing. And so it's like those are the weird two worlds that are happening now that are happening at the same time, and you've got Pluto at the last degree of Capricorn, and so that's exactly to me what the energy feels like. That, like, I don't know if you guys even saw talking about the Venus besiegement, and Jane Campion at the award show called out Venus Williams, the tennis player, and said, "You may dominate in tennis, but you only play against women. I have to compete against uh, men." And it was like, "What, dude? Like what?" And so I don't know. So yeah, Venus has been besieged, dude, and so Venus will probably be in besiegement until the end of the month, and so we may not see any major. We may say basic versions of the last few weeks continue to escalate for another week or two, which is horrible and bad. And but I'm grateful that I will be able to pay my electric bill. I paid rent, and that, oh, I got a new radiator in my car. So here's the crazy thing. So I guess my radiator had been leaking, and but my air conditioner had broke at the start of last summer, and that when I got my radiator fixed last week, my air conditioner worked. So now my car's running smooth, and the air conditioner works. So I'm so grateful. It's a perfect position to have a decent spring and a decent summer. I don't know. I'm just saying. I'm very grateful. I'm very appreciative. Thank you to everybody. Thank you to Asteroid Fight Club. Thank you. Thank y'all. Keep the faith. 5 more days left in winter. 5 more days left in astrological 2021. Uh, I would guess like the Venus besiegement by Mars and Saturn shit is real, and so it will continue to be crazy. But that this too shall pass. But please focus on figuring out how you want to spend June and July. I know that I've already got quite a few plans for June. I'm trying to make plans for July. I would definitely expect me to party from like the 2nd of July through like the 14th ish or 8th, 10th. Even, if I say I'm taking a week off, I'll probably still be working and making videos. But I'm just saying that like that is my focus. So I love y'all. Y'all are amazing. Thank you. Please stay cool and hang in there. And I will talk to y'all in the very near future. Because that is what I do. Let's all say our goodbyes. Happy equinox. Happy spring. Yay. That's why I feel I've waited for 2 years for this point. We're focused on, all right, we'll make it to the spring, and then we will fucking have good times again. And we will finally have, hopefully, we will have a Thor party. And that whole like Thor weekend with music and comedy and videos and hanging out in the stars and fun things to do. Hopefully, we will figure out how to plan and do that in the next year or two. And we can all hang out and high five in person. And that we will bring jamming back and good times, you know? That I love being on a great team. I don't know, this is my opinion. But that's it, is the one thing that, like, I mean, like Trump, Elon, and Putin, they really like to have a lot of the attention, and they seem to have an air of like I'm a self-made man. I did all by myself. Or dude, I love being on a great team, bro, and I want to be proud of my whole damn team, and I want everybody on my team to be awesome. That is the way to go. and you want everybody to have a good time, and everybody to get a piece of the pie, and you don't want to be fighting over no dumb bullshit. Some he said, she said. Kanye, same type of. Someone will say, I saw someone online say Kanye was the greatest artist of all time. I was like, dude, have you even heard of Jimi fucking Hendrix? Like, Jimi Hendrix created heavy metal. I don't think most people know or agree with that, but if you look at his older albums, like the Return of Neptune, that like Jimmy create like I don't know. I mean, yeah, the whole Kanye thing is weird. Anyway, stay cool. God bless y'all, and I will talk to y'all soon.